My wife handed me divorce papers on our 10th anniversary while her personal trainer sat beside her with his arm draped over her shoulder, and that's when I reached into my briefcase and destroyed both of their lives with a single envelope I'd been carrying for 3 months. Sign here, Olivia said, sliding the documents across our dining room table, the same table where we'd celebrated every anniversary for the last decade. And here, and initial here. I looked at the papers without touching them, then at Olivia, then at the guy beside her, Tyler something, 26 years old, personal trainer at the gym where my wife had supposedly been finding herself for the past year. You brought him here? I asked calmly. To our house? On our anniversary. Don't be dramatic, Paul. We're adults. Tyler's here for support because I knew you'd try to manipulate me into staying. Manipulate you? Yes, with guilt and your passive-aggressive bullshit. She pushed the papers closer. Just sign them. I'm not asking for much. The house is yours. I just want my car, my personal accounts, and half the retirement funds. Very reasonable. I picked up the papers and read through them carefully. She was right. The terms were surprisingly fair, almost suspiciously fair. She was walking away from a marriage of 10 years with minimal assets, leaving me the house, the savings, everything we'd built together. This is what you want? I asked. Yes, I should have done this years ago. I wasted my 20s with you, Paul. I'm 32 now. I deserve to be happy. Tyler squeezed her shoulder. You do, babe. You totally do. I looked at him. How long? What? Olivia said. How long have you been sleeping with him? That's none of your business. 14 months, Tyler said proudly. Since last May? That boot camp class where she got super into fitness? Yeah, that's when we connected. 14 months. While I'd been working 60-hour weeks as a software engineer to pay for the house renovation she'd wanted. While I'd been planning the trip to Italy for our 10th anniversary that was supposed to happen next month. I see, I said. I pulled out a pen and signed every page without reading them again. Initialed where required, dated each signature. The whole process took maybe 3 minutes. Olivia looked surprised. That's it? No fight? No begging? You want a divorce? I'm giving you one. I stacked the papers neatly and slid them back to her. Anything else? I'll be back this weekend with a moving truck for my things. Take your time. She stood up, Tyler following. She looked confused, maybe even disappointed that I hadn't put up a fight. Okay then. My lawyer will file these tomorrow. We should be officially divorced in 60 days. Sounds good. They headed toward the door. I let them get 3 steps before I spoke. Actually, there is one more thing. I reached into my briefcase and pulled out a sealed manila envelope, walked over to Olivia and handed it to her lawyer, a guy named Preston who'd been standing silently by the front door looking uncomfortable. What's this? Preston asked. Just some information you'll want to review before filing those papers. Paul, what are you doing? Olivia's voice had an edge of panic. Open it, I said to Preston. He opened the envelope and pulled out a thick stack of documents, started reading. His face went from curious to confused to pale in about 30 seconds. What is it? Olivia demanded. Preston kept reading. His hands started shaking slightly. He flipped through pages, his eyes getting wider with each one. Preston, what does it say? Olivia grabbed for the papers, but he pulled them away. We need to talk, Preston said to her quietly. Privately, right now. What? No, just tell me. Olivia, we need to withdraw these divorce papers immediately and renegotiate everything. Trust me. I don't understand. Preston looked at me, then back at Olivia. Your husband has documentation proving you've been systematically stealing from your joint accounts and his personal accounts for the last 18 months. Wire transfers, cash withdrawals, forged signatures. It's all here. Every transaction. With bank records, security footage, and forged documents with your signature. The room went silent. That's ridiculous, Olivia said, but her voice wavered. I would never... There's more, Preston interrupted. He has evidence that you and Tyler have been planning this divorce for months. Text messages between you two discussing how to hide assets, how to make the divorce look fair while you've already moved $200,000 into offshore accounts under Tyler's name. Tyler's smirk disappeared. What? No, that's... And there are photographs, Preston continued, his voice flat, of both of you accessing a safety deposit box that was opened in Tyler's name using money stolen from your husband. The box contains cash, jewelry, and financial documents. Olivia's face went white. How did you... Because I'm not stupid, I said calmly. I'm a software engineer who specializes in digital forensics. Did you really think I wouldn't notice $40,000 disappearing from our accounts over the course of a year? Small amounts at first, then larger. Always right after you went shopping or paid bills. You were spying on me. I was monitoring my own accounts, which led me to discover you'd forged my signature on loan applications, credit card applications, and withdrawal forms. That's bank fraud, Olivia. Multiple counts, federal crime. Preston was still reading, flipping faster now. Jesus Christ, she refinanced the house without your knowledge? Last February, took out $80,000 in equity. I didn't know until the new mortgage company sent paperwork to my office instead of our home address. You went through my phone, Olivia accused. That's illegal. No, I hired a private investigator who followed you to 3 different meetings with offshore banking consultants, all documented with photos, recordings, and receipts. Turns out Tyler's got quite the criminal history, too. Fraud convictions in 2 states. Tyler stepped forward. You don't know what you're talking about. No, sit down, Preston snapped at him. Then to Olivia? Did you do any of this? Any of it? She didn't answer. Just stared at me with a mixture of shock and hatred. I'll take that as a yes, Preston said. He looked at me. What do you want? What do I want? I smiled. I want her to understand that divorcing me is going to cost her everything, because I'm not just going to let this go. I'm going to prosecute. Bank fraud, identity theft, wire fraud. She's looking at 10 to 15 years in federal prison. Paul, you can't... Olivia's voice broke. Unless, I continued, we reach a different arrangement, which is why I gave those documents to your lawyer instead of the police. Yet. Preston understood immediately. You want to settle. I want her to leave this marriage with nothing. Not the car, not her accounts, nothing. She signs a postnuptial agreement admitting to all fraudulent activity, agreeing to repay every stolen dollar, and waiving all rights to marital assets. In exchange, I don't press charges. That's extortion, Tyler shouted. No, that's consequences, I said. Olivia committed crimes, multiple felonies. I'm offering her a way out that doesn't involve prison. She should be grateful. Preston pulled Olivia aside. They argued in hushed whispers for 5 minutes. Tyler tried to join them, but Preston told him to shut up and stay out of it. Finally, Olivia came back to the table. Her face was blotchy from crying. Fine, I'll sign whatever you want. Good decision. I pulled out another envelope, I'd prepared this months ago, working with my own attorney to make sure every word was legally airtight. A complete post-nuptial agreement that essentially stripped Olivia of all assets and required full repayment of stolen funds. She signed it with shaking hands. Preston witnessed and notarized it. The offshore accounts, I said. I want the passwords and account numbers, now. Tyler started to object, but Olivia cut him off. She wrote down the information on a piece of paper and slid it across the table. One more thing, I said. Tyler's involved in this too. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Unless he wants to go down with you, he's going to sign an affidavit admitting his role and agreeing to repay his share. I'm not signing anything, Tyler said. I pulled out my phone and played a recording. His voice, clear as day, talking to Olivia about how they'd split the money once the divorce was final, discussing which country had the best banking privacy laws, laughing about how that tech nerd will never figure it out. Tyler's face went gray. Where did you get that? Your gym locker. I paid a member to leave a recording device in there. Totally legal since it's a public space with no expectation of privacy. Preston handed Tyler a document. Sign it, or I'll walk out and let Mr. Harper press charges against both of you. Tyler signed. I collected all the documents, placed them in my briefcase, and stood up. Get out of my house, both of you. You have until Friday to collect your belongings, Olivia. After that, anything left here becomes mine. And don't even think about taking anything that's not explicitly yours. I have cameras everywhere now. They left without another word. Preston followed them out, looking shaken. I poured myself a whiskey and sat in the living room, watching the surveillance footage from the hidden cameras I'd installed 6 months ago. The cameras that had captured every moment of Olivia's betrayal, every secret phone call, every forged signature practice session. My phone rang. My attorney, David. Did it work? He asked. Perfectly. She signed everything. They both did. And you got the offshore account information? Already transferred every dollar back into my personal account. $347,000 total, more than I expected. What about the criminal charges? I'm still considering it. The agreement says I won't prosecute if she complies with repayment terms. But if she misses a single payment, all bets are off. You're playing hardball. She tried to rob me blind and leave me with nothing. I'm just making sure she understands that actions have consequences. I hung up and finished my whiskey. Tomorrow, I'd start the process of completely removing Olivia from my life. Change the locks, cancel her credit cards, close joint accounts. Everything we'd built together over 10 years, gone because she'd gotten greedy and stupid. But tonight, I'd sit here and appreciate the look on her face when she realized I'd been 10 steps ahead of her the entire time. That's what happens when you betray someone who makes a living finding hidden information in computer systems. You don't just get divorced, you get destroyed. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 34 text messages. All from Olivia, all begging me to reconsider, to talk, to work something out. I deleted them without reading past the first few words. At 9 a.m., my attorney David called. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Olivia's attorney filed an emergency motion to invalidate the post-nuptial agreement. Claims you coerced her into signing under duress." I laughed. "Of course she did. What's the likelihood it works?" "Minimal. We have documentation showing she committed multiple crimes. The agreement was her choice to avoid prosecution. That's not duress. That's consequences. But we'll need to appear in court next week." "Fine. I'll be there." "Paul, there's something else. Tyler filed a police report claiming you illegally recorded him and that you're attempting to extort him." "Let him try. The recording was made in a public space with no expectation of privacy. Completely legal. And I have signed statements from 3 gym members who witnessed him and Olivia discussing their fraud scheme openly." "You've really thought of everything." "I had 3 months to plan this, David. From the moment I discovered the first suspicious withdrawal, I knew this was coming. I just needed to gather enough evidence to make sure she couldn't walk away clean." I went to work that day like nothing had happened. My coworkers knew I was getting divorced. Olivia had made sure everyone knew she was leaving her controlling husband, but they didn't know the details. Didn't know she was a thief who'd been systematically robbing me for over a year. At lunch, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. "Paul, it's Preston, Olivia's lawyer." "What do you want?" "I need to speak with you confidentially, not as her attorney, but as one professional to another." "I'm listening." "She lied to me about all of it. When she first approached me for divorce representation, she told me you were financially controlling and she needed to leave. She showed me documents that made it look like you were hiding money from her. I believed her. And now? Now I've reviewed everything you gave me, the bank statements, the forged signatures, the offshore accounts. Paul, she didn't just steal from you. She's been running this scam for longer than 18 months. I found evidence going back 3 years. I went still. What? She's done this before. To her previous boyfriend. Stole $40,000 from him over the course of their relationship, then disappeared. He never pressed charges because he felt stupid for not noticing. I found his name in some of her old emails and tracked him down. He's willing to testify if this goes to trial. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't represent criminals. I told Olivia this morning I'm withdrawing from her case, and I wanted you to know that if you decide to press charges, I'll provide everything I have to support your case. Preston, you're her lawyer. You can't... I can, if she lied to me and used my services to further a criminal enterprise. That violates attorney-client privilege protections. I've already filed notice of withdrawal with the court. After he hung up, I sat in my car for a long time, thinking. 3 years. She'd been planning this for 3 years. Our entire marriage had been a con from the beginning. I called David back. I want to press charges, all of them. Bank fraud, identity theft, wire fraud, everything. Are you sure? The agreement... She violated the agreement by filing that emergency motion. And I just learned she's been running this scam longer than I thought. She's done this to other people. She's a career criminal who targeted me specifically. If we go this route, there's no going back. She'll go to prison. Good. She deserves it. That evening, I met with FBI agents who specialized in financial crimes. I handed over everything, bank records, forged documents, recordings, photographs, surveillance footage. Everything I'd compiled over 3 months of investigation. This is extensive, the lead agent said. You did our job for us. I'm thorough. We'll need to verify everything, but based on what I'm seeing, you have a solid case. Multiple federal charges. She's looking at significant prison time. What about Tyler? Conspiracy, money laundering, and being an accessory. If he cooperates and testifies against her, we might offer a reduced sentence. Otherwise, he's going down with her. They left with boxes of evidence. I went home to my empty house and ordered pizza. My phone rang at midnight. Olivia, calling from yet another new number. I answered. What? Paul, please. The FBI came to my sister's house where I'm staying. They seized my phone, my laptop, everything. They said I'm going to be arrested. Please, you can stop this. No, I can't, and I wouldn't if I could. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. What you did was criminal conspiracy spanning multiple years. You targeted me, married me, and spent 3 years stealing from me while planning your exit. I never meant... Yes, you did. Preston told me about your ex-boyfriend, the one you stole $40,000 from before disappearing. This is what you do, Olivia? You find successful men, marry them or date them, rob them blind, then move on to the next target. You're a con artist. Silence. Then quietly, how did you find out about Jeremy? Because I'm good at my job, and once I started looking, I found everything. The fake identity you used in college, the credit card fraud charges that got dismissed on a technicality, the restraining order from another ex who claimed you stalked him after he broke up with you. You're not just a thief, you're a predator. If you turn me in, my life is over. Your life as a con artist is over. Maybe prison will give you time to become a decent person. Though I doubt it. She started crying. I loved you. In my own way, I did. No, you didn't. You loved my money and the lifestyle I provided. There's a difference. I hung up and blocked the number. 3 days later, Olivia was arrested at her sister's house. Tyler was arrested the same day at his apartment. Both were charged with multiple federal crimes. The story made local news. Software engineer exposes wife's multi-year fraud scheme. My name was kept private, but Olivia's wasn't. Her photo was everywhere, beautiful, blonde, smiling, the perfect mask for a criminal. My coworkers suddenly understood why I'd been so calm about the divorce. My friends who'd thought I was being cold and unforgiving apologized for judging me. I can't believe she fooled all of us, my best friend Mike said over beers. We all thought she was this sweet, fitness-obsessed wife who just wanted to find herself. That's what con artists do. They're good at seeming authentic. Are you okay? This has to be brutal. Honestly, I'm relieved. I spent 3 months knowing what she was, but having to pretend everything was normal. Now it's out in the open. Now she faces consequences. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks out. David told me the prosecutor was confident about conviction. They're offering her a plea deal. 7 years in federal prison, full restitution, and lifetime probation afterward. If she doesn't take it and goes to trial, she's looking at 15 to 20 years. What about Tyler? 5 years if he testifies against her. 10 if he doesn't. Will she take the deal? Her new attorney is recommending it. She can't win at trial. The evidence is overwhelming. I waited for some feeling of satisfaction or revenge, but mostly I just felt empty. 10 years of my life, wasted on someone who'd been using me from the start. 10 years of believing we were building something together while she was planning how to tear it down. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. I hope you're happy. You destroyed my life over money. Olivia, somehow still able to contact me from jail. I replied, I didn't destroy your life. Your choices did. I just made sure you faced consequences for those choices. There's a difference. I'll never forgive you. I don't want your forgiveness. I want you to leave me alone. I blocked the number and changed my phone settings to only accept calls from known contacts. 2 weeks before the hearing, Olivia's attorney reached out to David with a proposal. She'd plead guilty to all charges and provide testimony about other potential victims she'd scammed in exchange for a reduced sentence of 5 years. The prosecutor wants to know if you'll accept that, David said. Why would my opinion matter? Because you're the primary victim. They want to make sure you feel justice is served. I thought about it. 5 years versus 7 or 15. She'd still go to prison. She'd still lose years of her life. She'd still be a convicted felon forever. Tell them I accept, but I want full restitution as part of the deal. Every dollar she stole, plus interest, plus legal fees. And I want her to be prohibited from contacting me for life. Done. Olivia took the plea deal. At the sentencing hearing, I sat in the courtroom and watched her stand before the judge in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed, looking small and defeated. The judge was thorough. Mrs. Harper, you've pleaded guilty to multiple counts of bank fraud, identity theft, and wire fraud. You've admitted to running a multi-year scheme to defraud your husband and others. You've shown a pattern of predatory behavior targeting successful men for financial gain. While I appreciate your cooperation and guilty plea, your actions were calculating and cruel. You destroyed trust, violated the law, and caused significant financial and emotional harm. I'm sentencing you to 5 years in federal prison, followed by 10 years of supervised probation. You are also ordered to pay full restitution totaling $412,000, plus legal fees. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, Olivia whispered. I hope you use your time in prison to reflect on your choices and become a better person. Though based on your history, I'm skeptical. They let her out. She didn't look at me. Tyler had already been sentenced to 3 years for his role. He'd testified against her, which had reduced his sentence, but not by much. Outside the courthouse, reporters tried to ask me questions. I declined and left. That evening, I sat in my house now, legally and completely, and felt the weight of the last few months lift. It was over. Olivia was gone. My money was being returned. My life was my own again. Mike called to check on me. "How are you feeling?" "Tired, relieved, sad, I guess." "Sad?" "I married her because I loved her, or thought I did. Finding out it was all fake, that's hard to process." "You did the right thing, turning her in." "I know, but it doesn't feel good. It just feels necessary." We talked for a while longer, then I hung up and poured myself a drink. Tomorrow, I'd start truly moving forward, dating again eventually, maybe traveling, definitely therapy to work through the betrayal and trust issues. But tonight, I'd sit with a complicated mix of relief and loss and accept that sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel like winning. It just feels like surviving. 3 months after Olivia's sentencing, I sold the house. Too many memories, all of them tainted now. I bought a smaller place across town. Modern, minimalist, nothing that reminded me of the life I'd built with a woman who'd been conning me from day one. The restitution payments started coming in. Olivia's family had apparently mortgaged their home to start paying me back, hoping to reduce her sentence. It didn't work, but I got my money. Every dollar she'd stolen, plus interest. I donated half of it to organizations that helped fraud victims. The other half went into investments. Money felt dirty. Better to turn it into something useful. Work became my focus. I threw myself into projects, took on additional clients, built my reputation as someone who could find anything hidden in digital systems. My specialty, digital forensics and fraud detection, became more in demand than ever. Apparently, my case had made news in certain circles. "You're the guy who caught his wife stealing," a potential client said during a consultation. "That's why I'm hiring you. If you could catch someone you lived with, you can definitely catch the embezzler in my company." I found their embezzler in 2 weeks. Recovered $500,000. Word spread. More clients came. My business grew. I hired 2 assistants, opened a small office downtown, started teaching seminars on digital security and fraud prevention. Life moved forward. Then, a year after Olivia went to prison, I received a letter from her. Prison mail, carefully screened before reaching me. "Dear Paul, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I understand. But I need to say something. Prison has given me a lot of time to think about who I was and what I did. You were right about everything. I was a con artist. I targeted you deliberately because you were successful and kind, and I thought you'd be easy to manipulate. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I understand now what I destroyed. You were a good husband. You deserved better. I'm sorry. Olivia." I read it twice, then filed it away. Didn't respond. What was there to say? Sorry didn't undo 3 years of lies and theft. A month later, another letter, then another. She was persistent. I'd give her that. "Stop writing me," I finally replied. "Your apologies don't matter. Your understanding comes too late. Leave me alone." The letters stopped. I started dating again. Slowly, carefully. Trust didn't come easy anymore. Every new woman I met, I wondered, is she genuine, or is this another con? I hired a private investigator to run background checks before 3rd dates. Paranoid? Maybe. But I'd learned my lesson about trusting blindly. Most women failed the background check, not because they were criminals, but because they lied about small things. Never married when they'd been divorced twice. No kids when they had 3. Small lies that revealed character. Then I met Sarah. She was a high school teacher, 40 years old, divorced with 2 teenage kids. She was upfront about everything from day one. "I've been divorced for 5 years," she told me on our first coffee date. "My ex-husband cheated with his secretary. Cliché, I know. We share custody of our kids. I own my house outright. No debt except my car payment. I'm not looking for someone to rescue me or support me. I'm looking for a partner who's honest and stable and doesn't play games." That's refreshingly direct. I'm too old for games, and I'm guessing you are too. I told her about Olivia. Not all the details, but enough. My ex-wife stole from me for years while planning to divorce me and disappear with the money. I caught her, she went to prison, so I'm probably going to be paranoid about trust for a while. That's fair. I'd be paranoid too. We dated for 6 months before I introduced her to my friends. Another 6 months before meeting her kids. Slow, careful, building trust through consistency rather than grand gestures. "You're nothing like my ex," she told me one evening over dinner. "He was all flash and charm and empty promises. You're steady, reliable, honest. It's nice. Boring, you mean? No, nice. There's a difference. 2 years after my divorce from Olivia, I proposed to Sarah. Small ceremony, just close friends and family. Her kids were there. Mike was my best man. You deserve this, he said before the ceremony. After everything with Olivia, you deserve someone real. Sarah's definitely real. She also ran a background check on you. Did you know that? I laughed. Good. Shows she's smart. The wedding was simple. Sarah wore a blue dress instead of white. I've been married before. No point pretending otherwise, she said. We exchanged vows we'd written ourselves. Promised honesty, partnership, and respect. No mention of unconditional love or forever. We'd both learned those promises were meaningless without action to back them up. Life with Sarah was different from life with Olivia. Quieter, more stable. We split bills proportionally based on income, maintained separate accounts with one joint account for household expenses, talked through every financial decision. This probably seems paranoid, I told her during one of these discussions. No, it seems smart. My ex ruined my credit by opening cards in my name. I get it. Trust, but verify. 3 years after Olivia went to prison, I received a call from the parole office. She was up for early release based on good behavior. We're required to notify victims, the officer said. You have the right to submit a statement for consideration during the parole hearing. What are the chances she's released? Good. She's been a model prisoner, completed all rehabilitation programs, and has a job offer waiting. Unless you have serious objections, she'll likely be released in 6 months. I thought about it. Did I care if Olivia got out? She'd served 3 years of a 5-year sentence. She'd lost everything, her freedom, her reputation, her future prospects as a convicted felon. I don't object to her release, I told the officer, but I want to know where she's living and working. I want to make sure she's nowhere near me. We can arrange that. The parole terms will include a no-contact order. Good enough. Olivia was released 6 months later. She moved to a different state, 300 miles away, to live with her sister. Got a job at a call center. Started rebuilding her life from nothing, which is what she deserved. I heard about it through mutual acquaintances who thought I'd want to know. I didn't. Her life was no longer connected to mine. I focused on my life with Sarah. Her kids graduated high school. We took a trip to Europe. I expanded my business further. Sarah got promoted to department head at her school. Life was good, not perfect, but honest. Built on reality rather than lies. 5 years after my divorce from Olivia, on what would have been our 15th anniversary, I got a Facebook message from her. She'd apparently found a way around the no-contact order through social media. Paul, I know I'm not supposed to contact you, but I wanted you to know that I've turned my life around. I'm engaged to someone who knows about my past and loves me anyway. I have a real job, real relationships, and I'm finally the person I should have been when we were married. I'm not asking for anything, I just wanted you to know. Olivia. I showed the message to Sarah. Should I respond? Do you want to? Not really. Then don't. Her redemption isn't your responsibility. I blocked her on social media and moved on. Years passed. My business thrived. Sarah and I bought a bigger house together. This time both our names on the deed, both of us contributing equally. Her kids visited during holidays with their own kids. Life became full and rich and complicated in good ways. 10 years after the divorce, I was at a professional conference when someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around to see Olivia standing there. She looked older, tired, but clean and sober. Paul, I thought that was you. Olivia. I looked around. What are you doing here? I work for the company hosting this conference, event coordination. I saw your name on the attendee list. You should leave. I know, I just wanted to say... She took a breath. I've spent 10 years trying to make up for what I did. Working with fraud prevention organizations, speaking at prisons about the consequences of financial crimes, trying to be better. I know it doesn't undo anything, but I needed you to know. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Olivia? That I forgive you? That it's all in the past? I don't forgive you. What you did shaped who I am now. I'm suspicious of everyone. I run background checks on people I date. I have trust issues that therapy hasn't fully resolved. You didn't just steal money, you stole my ability to trust people. I know, and I'm sorry. Good. Now leave me alone. She walked away. I watched her go and felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no sadness. Just emptiness, where feelings about her used to be. I called Sarah that evening and told her what happened. Are you okay? She asked. Yeah, it was weird seeing her, but I'm fine. Good, come home. I made your favorite dinner. Home. Not a house I'd bought alone or a place filled with memories of betrayal. Home with someone I trusted, someone who'd proven through years of consistency that she was real. That night, lying in bed next to Sarah, I thought about the envelope I'd handed Olivia's lawyer 10 years ago. The envelope that had changed everything. The evidence I'd spent 3 months gathering, the trap I'd set perfectly. People had called me vindictive. They'd said I'd overreacted, that I could have just divorced her and moved on. They didn't understand that it wasn't about revenge. It was about making sure she faced real consequences for real crimes. And those consequences had changed both our lives. She'd lost years to prison, but apparently found redemption. I'd lost my ability to trust easily, but found someone worth trusting. We'd both survived the destruction of that marriage, just in very different ways. I fell asleep thinking about the scared look on Preston's face when he'd read that envelope. The moment everything had shifted, the moment Olivia realized she hadn't been as smart as she'd thought. That moment had defined the rest of my life. And I didn't regret it for a second.